Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Yes, cool, excellent, wonderful. All right. Thank you for coming on tonight. We have 10 participants in this group, although tonight there's another event on about health and nutrition just for tonight. So I'm going to be recording this so that other people can catch up for the first week, and then next week we'll have a full room, so that'll be great. You'll see on the screen there just an initial survey, mainly for me to gauge what everyone's here for. So feel free to fill that in for me, and we'll kick off from there. Is there anyone that did not receive a workbook and a cookbook in their email inbox today? Anyone who didn't receive that? Hopefully all got that. Good, good, good. Okay, the aim of this 6-week program is for you to get what you want. So looking at this survey so far, losing weight and feeling better about yourselves and just in general is the most popular. Losing weight tends to be a big one for most people, so I'm really glad to offer this tonight and for the next 6 weeks, and also the support that comes in between. So it's an interactive session, so please at any point do put your questions in the chat box there, and of course you'll notice that you've got an option to put raise your hand, which means, or ask for assistance or anything like that. So raising your hand, if that pops up, then you actually want to speak and answer or ask a question that rather than type it out, and I'm happy to give you voice for that. So feel free to do that anytime. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Pascal. I've been working in the health and wellness industry since 2008, both here and in Japan. So predominantly here though, happy to say, and moving from personal training into the nutrition fields, nutrition education, and now I work mostly as a health coach, a life coach and mentor. So taking all that experience and rolling it into one. And this program I like to offer for people who are really committed to their health because it helps me to keep myself learning and fresh in the industry, but also offer education, which to me is most important because there's no sense in trying a new diet or trying a new system or a new program and then not really understanding what to do once the program ends, or what to eat when you're facing a wedding or a cafe or a restaurant or something like that. So especially with nowadays we're bombarded with a lot of information about what's right to eat and what's wrong. So for this program is ever evolving, and my background in fitness and also in cookery helps me to keep abreast of what's new and what's important to people, and also what is ultimately what is healthy. So I myself enjoy a healthy lifestyle, and having been unwell myself before, which I can go into a little later, I do know what it's like to be overweight. I do know what it's like to be tired. I do know what it's like to be overworked, and I do know what it's like to be genuinely unhealthy on the inside. So happy to say that I don't live that way anymore, and it's simply about the choices I've made. Nothing drastic, no surgeries, no crazy diet or pills or schemes or anything like that. It's simply lifestyle changes and good quality cellular nutrition that's helped me. So yeah, excited to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to flick over now to our program book. So you will have received a booklet like this. You're most welcome to print it out. I highly recommend printing it out if you can. Reason being is that it's a workbook that you can fill in and make notes in, and it also has your food journal in there. So for the first week, we're going to be looking predominantly at mindset and a few basics. but also understanding how to journal your food. So I'm not sure if anyone here is doing the reset program. Actually, is anyone doing the reset program, the 5-day reset program? If you are, can you just put a yes in the chat box for me? D, you're doing a reset? Excellent, congratulations. Um, excellent. So with that, actually, D, when did you start, or when are you starting? Do you intend to start today or this week? This week, cool. So with that, okay, great. And Caitlin, one of our others who should be on soon, she's going to do it as well. So for those of you who don't know, the Reset program is a 5-day program that we run alongside this if people want to. And essentially, what it is for is to reset your metabolism and to kickstart your journey. All of the foods in the program are low glycemic, which we'll go into a lot in this course, so you can understand what foods out there are also low glycemic, and also it's really to kick sugar cravings. So sugar, as we will learn in this course, is not just sugar that we recognize, sprinkled on top of things, cakes and biscuits. It's also in foods that are maybe a little more disguised or foods that turn into sugars very quickly. And so the idea of the reset program is to curb those cravings, get you really, really well nourished on a cellular level, which we'll go into much further on into the course. And honestly, if you're able to do it and do it well and stick to it for 5 days, even longer. I know people who have done 12 weeks using the foods and the nutritionals in that program, and have made drastic changes to their bodies and to their lifestyles. One of the couples last year who did this course with me lost collectively 18 kilos in the 5 days, which was quite dramatic. Typically, you can expect to lose 2 to 4 kilos, and that's just really the detoxification process and the cleansing, and also drinking water and just flushing those toxins out. So it's a really, really well researched program and very, very effective. So good luck to you, Caitlin, and good luck to you, Dee, as well on that. And if anyone wants to do that reset at any point during the course, absolutely most welcome to do that, and I can let you know, or the person who invited you onto the course absolutely can let you know how to get one of those. So moving right along, we're going to jump in. So week 1, you'll see in the booklet, you've got all of the outline, you've got all the material there, and anything around that is simply whatever we want to discuss. So if at any point, even during the week, you want to email me questions or call me up or anything and say, hey, I'd really like to talk about the paleo diet, or I'd really like to talk about this specific intolerance, or whatever it is that is specific to you that you want to know about, then ideally ask it during the course so that others can learn from that as well. Because if you've got an issue with it, chances are someone else does too. So yeah, it's really about what you want and what you want to know about. So let's get everything covered. Mindset and purpose. This is the first week we're covering. Detoxification. We're going to look a little bit into alkalinity and acidity, so the different foods. Exercise as well. Week 3 is glycemic index and load. So you're most welcome to read ahead a little bit in your book if you want to, but there's no need. We will cover everything in great detail. Nutrients and building blocks, so your macronutrition and your micronutrition as well. Fats and fiber and their importance. And week 6 into write down cellular nutrition and systemic inflammation. Sounds a lot. It is, but it's actually much more simple than it sounds. The bonuses there, the back of the book, you have a lot of appendices. This is all the truth about sugars and sweeteners and alcohol, fasting, all these sorts of things are a little bit extra, and what to do with that. And when if you've got anything in reading that in your own time, if you've got anything that you want to go into a little more detail, because I won't go through all of those appendices in a great detail, you just need to have a look yourself. That I do have the references there written for you, then you're most welcome to bring it up and say, look, I really would like you to go into this a little more if you can. Absolutely, if we have the time, we will do that. Otherwise, I'll go through that individually with you. There are some fill in the gaps in those places. The reason I've put those is because if it is something you're most interested in, then to that detail, then I highly recommend reading the book. A lot of it comes from or the source. So Dr. Libby Weaver, a great mentor of mine, and some other great authors, and also simply some information from our own government departments here in New Zealand. So some really, really credible sources and great information about all of those things. So, but first things first, we're moving into our week. So you'll have this body composition health check. For anyone who doesn't have their book printed, if you don't have a printer at home and you would like to print it, then in the meantime, simply grab either another screen on your computer or a pen and paper and note down your answers as you go, or the notes that you want to take. I do recommend taking notes. There'll be a lot of information. So this is just for you and your own measurements, your own gauge of how you're doing. If weight loss certainly is something that you'd like to monitor. I don't recommend doing a whole host of things. These are really the ones that are most critical. So your narrowest point around your middle literally is by sight, where is the narrowest point, and that will shift as your body shape changes. Belly button, simply around your belly button. The iliac crest, that is your hips. So easy one is where your belt would go, or the widest part of your hips and buttocks. Thigh, if you've got your hands by your side and your feet slightly apart, get someone to measure around where the tip of your finger meets the leg, and that is the girth of your thigh. And then for men who are often trying to have a wider chest than a belly, across the nipple line under the armpits, and that is a great measure of the chest expansion. Skin folds, this is something that you can get a person at a gym to do, or a personal trainer. That's simply to get your body fat skin fold percentage. Your body composition here will then, if you've got your measurements and your skin folds, and you're able to figure out what is body fat, what is muscle, and using your overall scale weight. I do recommend keeping at bare minimum your belly button measurement. Simply with a measuring tape, it's very, very simple. You don't need anything else. Belly button is probably the most critical. Behind your abdomen is where you keep most of your vital organs, and if that place is not healthy, then you can expect some difficulties down the line. That's really where we want to shift the most weight. Other things, scale weight, I don't recommend doing. I know a lot of programs talk about jumping on the scales every day and all those things. Personally, in my experience, I've found that it breeds a mentality of, if there's any slight increase on the scale, then in my mind I'm thinking, oh, well, I've done badly, or I shouldn't have eaten that, or whatever. The mind games that are played from stepping on a scale are just really not good for us. So if you can avoid it, please do. I only normally have the weight in kilos, the scale weight, for the purpose of taking the body fat and lean muscle percentage. That is the only reason why I would ever ask someone to be on a scale. So if you can avoid it, please do. Right, we're moving now into mindset and purpose. So this is your first week. Just flip ahead here. All right, questions are the answers. So indicate which of the following are your top reasons for wanting to take part in a Healthy for Life program. So really, like that survey at the beginning, what is most important to you? So what I'd like you to get out of this is that the instinctive first point, why am I here tonight? And just note that down for yourself. Okay. Right, now we're going to go a little deeper. We want to get to the bottom belief. So there is something that drives everyone in everything that they do. There is a reason why they do things the way that they do things. So this, your main motivator, your main driver for doing something, you may not be fully aware of it on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, it is what drives you to do the things that you do. In health, wealth, happiness, whatever, in the way that you drive, in the way that you operate, certainly in the way that you see your body and the way that you eat and so on, is all going to come down to a belief that is what I call the bottom belief. So it's sometimes a long journey to get there, but if you can start with these questions, then it's very, very helpful. So please consider how your answers affect all areas of your life. So financial, spiritual, relationships, career, mental, emotional, and so on. So in looking at the questions above, say for example, if your reason was, or how, I'll tell you what, I'll use my example. So looking at this, my reason for taking part in a program was predominantly to not get sick as often as I did. When I was living in the UK, I was working in government, and it was a very stressful job, a very monotonous job, working in a cubicle for something that appeared prestigious, but actually was just like a monkey flipping paper burgers, is what we called it. So what I found in that lifestyle was that I worked hard, I played hard, and in the end, I just got sick very, very regularly. A lot of illness around me, not a very strong immune system, and like clockwork, every 3 months I would get a cold, a flu, bronchitis, and over 3 years, ultimately, that lifestyle led me to return home and head straight into hospital with pneumonia, age 28. Can't say it's a very inspiring thing to be sitting in a hospital bed with pneumonia. It's not the most pleasant experience. I don't recommend it. And certainly the lifestyle that led me there was completely different to one that I lead now. So for me to look at, why would I want to be a little healthier? Simply to not be sick, to not be ill. So if I'm going to look at number one reason to not be sick, then the next question, why did I pick that one? So I'm looking at why is that the most important thing to me? Well, the reason it was most important is because I realized I was young and I shouldn't have an illness that really old people get. To me, in my mind, that was, oh, pneumonia is something that old people get, and I was young, and I shouldn't have got that. And the reason why it was important to me to not relive that was that I realized that over those 3 years, I would spend a week in bed, blacked out, not really able to get up and do anything, even to go to the doctor or the hospital when I was living over there. So for me, it was really too intense, and it took my sick leave, it took my annual leave. I stopped getting paid because I had to take that much time off work. And it was really, really important for me to be healthy because people saw me as being healthy, because I went from someone that was heavily overweight to someone that was of a healthy weight by all intents and purposes, and yet and I made my own lunches, and baked my own goods and all this and people saw me as being very, very healthy. But to me, just because I exercised and ate well, being sick all the time did not give me that feeling of being very healthy. So that was my big, reasons why. If I move down now to what are the consequences of not having that, i.e., not having that picture of great health. So the consequences are long term. Well, for me, it was the next option was death, really. Excuse me. Pneumonia, yeah, it's basically your lungs fill with fluid, and effectively you drown in your own fluid, which is not it's not the way to live. Excuse me, I'm just gonna have a drink of water. That cough just got me. So having pneumonia at age 28 really led to me kind of lying on my bed, on my deathbed, so to speak, and thinking to myself, there must be something else. There must be something better. There must be something else that I'm missing, because if I were so healthy that everyone pictured, I wouldn't be here so young. So for me, this last question, why would that worry me? The worry came from me thinking, well, I'm 28, geez, I should be able to lead a healthy life. I should be able to grow up, have a family, live well, get married, have children, all these sorts of things. And yet here I am, a young, seemingly healthy person in bed with a team of 8 doctors worrying about whether I will make it through the night. So the worry really came on as being long term, what will this bring me? Is this how I'm going to be for the next 60 years? It's not really what I wanted for myself. So your reasons may not be as extreme as that. But if you're looking at even something wanting more energy, wanting to lose weight, wanting to reduce the risk of whatever it is in your family that there is a risk of, whatever it is, if you've got a special occasion, I get a lot of people who want to, they're going to get married, they're going to go and have a 50th birthday or whatever it is. So whatever's your thing, whatever your reason it is a completely valid reason. It's a very important reason and it's yours. So look really what is the bottom belief. If you know what your reason is, can you please type it in the chat box just there and I will share some of them if that's okay. And if you know what your bottom belief is and your reason why it would worry you so much to not have the health that you want, please do type it there or raise your hand and I'd love to hear some of you speak. Okay, tracking your progress. As I mentioned, we're not going to look at scale weight throughout this course. We're really looking at fat loss, like truly fat loss. So either your fat percentage or your waist size shrinking. So I know I mentioned earlier that a couple last year lost between them 18 kilos. That was obviously quite a huge amount. But it's also really, really important to know what kilos are being lost. So the difference between losing fat and losing muscle, or losing water, and each sugar molecule has 3 grams of water attached to it, each gram of sugar. So a lot of that fluid in the beginning, your fluids and toxins and so on, the reason people go, oh, I just put weight back on straight away is because initially there is a lot of water loss, which is why it's so important to keep flushing so you can cleanse those toxins. So looking at this is really just going through what's most important. And again, as I said, if you're going to keep a measure and only one measure, then please make it your waist measurement. This goes into a little bit about losing weight versus monitoring your health and what's easier to gauge over time. I do invite people to look at ways that inspire them. I don't know anyone who's inspired by getting on a scale. I know some people that are inspired by how their jeans fit, or if they could get into a dress that they used to fit, or if they get compliments from people. Other people are more inspired by having the energy to run around with their children, sleep better, things like that. So look for something that actually for you is going to inspire you to continue, because it's lifestyle change that we're looking for here. It's not a quick fix thing, although some people do fix a lot of things very quickly. But we are looking for, over time, what's still going to inspire you to reach for the healthier option than the unhealthy one, or for being creative with when you have your celebratory treat, so to speak, so that you can actually still support your health journey rather than sabotage it. All right, looking ahead now, health benefits of drinking water. So typically we're looking at 8 glasses a day. That gets thrown around quite a lot, drink 8 glasses of water or 2 liters of water. It's probably a pretty good gauge, to be honest. a really important thing to note throughout this course is that you want to be drinking more water than you have ever drunk, unless you're someone who already drinks 3 liters a day. Reason being, you're going to be flushing the toxins out, especially if you're doing a reset program. The reset is really to help you cleanse and detoxify, cut the sugar cravings, get rid of the toxins that are stored in the fat cells. And if you are losing fat from the cell, then the body doesn't necessarily release the cell as quickly as it released the fat from the cell. So you might actually flush the fat out and then the cell remains empty, which is why sometimes people say, well, I feel lighter, but I've still got, I've still got bulk around my middle, for example. So when you then continue to drink, you're filling the cell with water essentially, and it is going to then carry the fat cell out. So you can reduce the number of fat cells on your body. You also can increase the number of fat cells on your body by the way that you eat and drink. So you're really looking to keep flushing toxins and effectively flushing fat away, so to speak. It's not as simple as that little explanation, but it's a pretty good gist. So also very, very key is just being hydrated. Oftentimes when feeling hungry, I recommend drinking water first because it's very common for people to be dehydrated before they realize it. And having a drink first will also help you recognize whether or not you're hungry for food or if you are actually just thirsty. So drink first, good water first, and and even with lemon or mint, or chuck in some berries or something in the water just to make it a little more alkaline, a little more friendly if you're not really into drinking a lot of water, but do try and drink as much as you can. It's going to help flush your liver as well, and your liver does a hell of a lot of work to detoxify, not just from if you eat a fatty meal or a sugary meal, but also if you are under strain or stress, if you do not have a very high functioning digestive system, if you have had 1 or 2 alcoholic beverages or more, if you've had a whole host of things, if you've had colorings in your food or additives or preservatives, if you've eaten something packaged, your liver's doing a lot of work, and its primary function is to metabolize fat and to detoxify and cleanse the body. So it's only going to function well if it has enough water to help it do its job, and also less of the toxins that are effectively filling it up. So let's do your liver and your kidneys some favor there, and keep hydrating. If there are any questions at any time, please do write in the chat box there about anything that I'm saying as I go. You're most welcome, or just click on the raise your hand, and I'm happy to go on there. And welcome, Rebecca. Nice to see you there too. Okay, there's a little more here in water, and there are actually a lot of water calculators you can do online. So just Google water calculator, and it will ask you a few questions and then tell you how much water you need to drink. The amount of water you drink, as I said, typically 2 liters is around about right. It depends on what you're eating. If you are eating high acid foods and drinking a lot of caffeinated beverages or sugary beverages generally, then you need to drink 10 times, 30 times more water than you would expect. And that's no joke, because those foods and drinks tend to dehydrate, and also it's a matter of alkalizing the body better. So we'll go into that in a lot more detail in the section on alkaline and acid, but just typically think to yourself, okay, well, have I drunk water this hour? I do recommend, if you're not good at remembering or you have a high pressure job, to have your water bottle next to you and every hour take some. So, or have an alarm on your phone or something that will help you. So for those of you who are doing the reset program, or you want to do it during this course, then you're most welcome to. You will also see in there that you have some health pack vitamins. So we're going to go into cellular nutrition in this course, but in the meantime, if you are someone again who can't remember or why you need to take them, I'll just give an overview here. So the health pack that we recommend, something I take every day for myself, my husband as well, is it is my foundation for my cells. So I'm looking at my antioxidants and my multi-minerals and vitamins. And the health pack itself has an antioxidant booster and it's calcium magnesium extra as well. So it's something you want to have with water and soon after eating food, so that your body will break it down and absorb it very, very quickly into the bloodstream. And also it helps to prevent any like nausea feeling of, if you've ever had any kind of tablet on an empty stomach, it doesn't feel very comfortable. So having food in there certainly helps because your body's digesting anyway. Looking at these, essential vitamin questions here. How shall I take them? That's best how you take them. Why so many? Because if you put all of them together in one pill, it would be like this big. So let's not do that. How can I remember? That's up to you. Either an alarm, put them by your kettle or by your toothbrush or by something that you remember to do morning and evening. And if I ever have a hard time swallowing pills, I do recommend crushing them up or whizzing them in a smoothie or whatever. I know a lot of people who take their shake in the morning, their nutrients, blend them all together, whiz it up, and off they go. Not my personal favorite, but there you go. It is a way to get them in. Right. Moving on now to meal scheduling. So in your first week, your main focus is to, if you do not print out your workbook, is to get yourself one of these. They're going for about 10 cents at Paper Plus at the moment, little notebook, and just carry it with you. Put it in your handbag or in your car or whatever. And at that time, just when you wake up, jot down what time that is, and when you eat first, jot down what time that is and what you eat. Just kind of get used to being aware of when you eat during the day. This scheduling page here is to assist you in creating a schedule that is going to help your body basically get into an automated routine. So when even if you want to do this right now, you can easily do it. Just jot down on a working weekday, what time do you wake up? What time do you eat? What time do you have weekends and weekdays? So that's why there's 2 pages, 2 sections. So what time you wake up, what time you eat first, what time you eat after that. So become aware of your typical routine, and then your new routine that you're going to write here is what time you wake up, and then 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours later, that's when you next eat. 2.5 to 3 hours later, that's when you next eat. 2.5 to 3 hours later, that's when you next eat. So typically you're going to be having about 5 to 6 meals or mini meals, snacks, whatever, during your day. You want to work, your work day typically for people is longer. So there tend to be more meals because, people are working earlier and in the weekends maybe have a sleep in and a bit lazier. Or if you have a night out, then you want to continue it. So you want to be eating every 3 hours on average. No sooner than 2.5 hours and no later than 3.5, because then you're really getting into getting too hungry and lower blood sugars. So use this as a gauge, and this first week really practice eating every 3 hours or so, thereabouts. It doesn't matter so much what you eat because I haven't really taught you anything yet. You're most welcome to use some of the recipes in the cookbook that I've shared with you all, and if you are doing the reset program, then it's very simple because your foods and your snacks are already determined, and obviously that's going to make it a lot easier for you during this first week. So yeah, say for example I wake up at 7, 10 o'clock I'm going to have a mid-morning snack. Maybe 12:30, 1 I'm going to have my lunch, depends on what your break time is at work, if you've got a scheduled lunch. an afternoon snack as well, dinner time, and then if you're up for a long time in the evening, then make sure that you also have a small evening snack of sorts. Um, you want to, if you can this week, reduce the amount of obvious processed sugar. That's all I'm going to say. Obvious processed sugar, try and reduce that. You can, if you are already someone who is making bigger changes and you want to reduce the amount of caffeine, or you want to reduce, I don't know, maybe the amount of meat you have or whatever, then you're most welcome to do that. But really, for the first week, your main focus is getting used to eating regularly and journaling it. The reason I get you to journal is A, I can help you a lot better when I know what you've eaten. So if we're to, by phone or on these sessions, talk about specifically foods that you've eaten that have maybe triggered a response physically or made you feel tired or whatever, then that's critical. But also for yourself, 80% people are more likely to uh, do better at their weight loss goals if they track by 80% more. So yeah, it's a really interesting statistic, really, that just writing it down, and this goes for everything. If you were tracking finances or tracking, I don't know, exercise progressions or whatever, writing it down, it just brings your awareness to it. So do that. So yeah, use this one for weekdays and then weekends as well, so you know what you're doing there. Right, I'm going to get into this is your food journal. So every week in your workbook, you have a food journal that looks like this. I'm just going to go through it briefly. You have there your timing, the day it is, the time, wake up at 7:15, when did you eat first? And then for the first wee while, don't really worry about these 20, 25%, da 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 da. Simply write in there what you ate, whatever it was. If you're taking any supplementation of any kind, or you are using some of the USANA health pack or essentials, then please write in there when I take my morning vitamins, when did I eat next, so on, go on through. Just write in meals and so on. Do put in when you wake up and when you sleep, what time you go to bed. Do put in how much water, glasses, bottles, whatever your vessel, whatever your gauge. I mean, I use one of these, so I know if I drink 6 of these, I'm pretty good. And if you do any exercise, whether that be like a class you go to or go for a walk or whatever, or if you're someone who uses one of those trackers on your phone, write in whatever it is so that you understand the gauge, whether it be by time or distance or intensity level, whatever. If you do no exercise, fine, write no exercise. This is just for your first week, and as we go through, you'll get to know about these different areas. You've got 2 pages there of those, and then you've got a notes page as well. So during the sessions, do use the notes. Also write down questions during the week. If you read something interesting that you want to share, say you read something online, or you've thought about such and such a diet or such and such a product, then by all means note it down and do ask me during the week. Okay, is there any questions so far about what I have said? Just put that, for those of you that haven't answered the survey, I'm just going to put the survey back up. But please, any questions at the moment for anything that I've said about the way the course is going to run, or how this first week will go, please type in the chat box. I'm going to have some more water, having just talked about water as well. No questions? You're brilliant. Right, before I get into a little bit about the cookbook as well, this session is being recorded because there are several people who cannot attend this evening, and they will be online for the rest of the program. it's also for your benefit, so you will receive the recordings if you want to listen again or share with somebody. That's totally cool. It is interactive though, so meant to be. So at any time, please, you should have a little raise your hand, and I can offer the ability for you to speak, actually have voice. So happy to do that, and indeed asking questions or answering in the chat box there, so that you can get your answers, whatever you need. This is about you, and it is there's no sense in me just giving you information that you don't want. So please do ask at any point, and yeah, hopefully I can get your answers for you. Right. Yeah. So for those of you who arrived a little later, I do recommend printing out the workbook and the cookbook if you can. The cookbook, just going to go into this briefly now, just for the last few moments, before I set your task for the week. So I did work for 5 years as a chef, and when I was a fat, unhealthy chef, before I knew anything about health and fitness, I certainly weren't cooking recipes like this. So this is yeah, some of my mum's recipes, good ones, some of my auntie's recipes, some of my own, and some borrowed and stolen from great people that I know. So yeah, it's a labour of love, really. Going into this, it's more of a healthy eating guide as well as a cookbook. So you have a little bit here on glycemic index and load. We are going to go a great deal into this in the course in week 3. But you know, this helps you now if you're interested to read. Some of you are readers, and that's totally cool. The reason I discuss glycemic index and load is because of everything that I've seen. This is the most simple. Once you understand the concept of it, it is the easiest to create meals. It is the easiest to understand. It doesn't matter which cultural, ethnic food group you're eating. It doesn't matter intolerances and so on. Everyone can eat this way. Everybody. Good for children, good for snacks, good for parties, there are ways to eat this way, simply. And there is no on-off diet. So it's not I'm following this trend or that trend or whatever. It's just a way of eating that's very, very simple. So we will go into it a great deal. Making smoothies and shakes. So for those of you who are wanting to make your own, excuse me, your own smoothies and meal replacement shakes. So if you're doing the reset program, then you'll be having our Nutri-Meals, which are completely balanced with fats, proteins, fibers, and carbohydrates, all low glycemic ones, which is why they work so well. So I wanted to teach you as well how to make your own ones should you not have any of those Nutri-Meals for yourself. So that's in there. You've also got guides on choosing a good fat source and choosing good proteins and so on as well. What else have we got there? Also, you've got a guide on snacks. So, you know, typical looking at your glycemic index and load as well. There's obviously a million different things you could do with snacks and so on, but yeah, this is a really good idea as a quick glance. I'm going to skip right to the end now of the book because it goes into meat, protein of vegetables and chicken and seafood and all sorts. Lots of really cool cool things. You've also got some salads in there. You've got grain dishes, side dishes, and then right at the back, let's skip ahead. Yeah, about here. So you've got these tables that will identify for you what is a least desirable carbohydrate, what is a moderately desirable carbohydrate, what is most desirable, this sort of thing. So even if you just looked at this and didn't know what any of these numbers meant in index or load, I can give you a hint. If it says 0, really, really good. Eat heaps of them. Nuts. So yeah, 0, anything under 10, go for it. Eat as many of those things as you want. And yeah, brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. We'll get into why later. But yeah, most desirables, it's really easy to then create a meal using some of these things. Um, we've also got different, you know, actually different brands of things available, um, different grains and so on, and yeah, proteins and fats as well. You've got most desirable in these as well. So it's just an easy way as a quick reference guide so that you can straight from the get-go start going, well, I do need to go shopping and get some cooking oil. So what am I going to use? What is going to be good for me? I do need to have some meat. What is going to be a better source of meat than just picking maybe the mince and the sausage? So feel free to use this throughout the journey or not. The internet is a brilliant thing, so you can always source anything, any good recipes there. And certainly, if you've got a recipe that you want to know if it's low GI and if it's going to serve you, do pass it on. I'm happy to help with that. And I'm also really, really happy to adjust a recipe that you have. You're like, I really, really love this, whatever it is, pasta bake. How do I make it more health friendly? Happy to do that as well. Um, there's so many great things we have access to. A really, really abundant source of wonderful healthy um, products that are going to, yeah, really jazz up your meals in terms of their interest, their taste, but also just make them a lot healthier for you and your family. So yeah, by all means, do that. I have in the past taken phone calls on comparing these two products the in the supermarket. In fact, Pearl, I'm sure that you and I had one of these talks many moons ago. Um, you know, which one do I buy? It's about reading the labels and understanding that. So if you're wanting to know, please do ask. Yeah, yeah, quite a few calls like that. Um, yeah, so any questions at any time about anything to do with health, about food, sleep, bowel motions, menstrual cycles, hormones, anything at all, kids eating, not eating, whatever it is that you need to know about, please use this opportunity over the next 6 weeks to get your questions answered. If I don't know the answer, I will find it for you. I have a plethora of very, very powerful, knowledgeable people in my network in this industry. So please do ask and get your questions answered. I'm also very happy to meet you guys outside of the session if you need to, or if you want a one-on-one with me, by all means, give me a buzz and we'll catch up over a green tea or something. So yeah, do take the opportunity. So just to recap for the last 10 minutes here, if you've got any questions, just jot it down before we close off. But your first task for the week is to mindset and purpose. So is to get clear on why you're here. So page 7, why are you here? Get to your bottom belief by going through this question and answer session. And if you are having trouble getting to the bottom belief as to why it's so important and what is truly motivating you to make some changes, then just give me a call. I'm happy to help you facilitate you through these questions until you get to the thing that is really driving you. So that's number 1, answer these questions on page 7. Number 2 is on page 10. Please get clear on your own schedule for eating during the week and during the weekends. And number 3 is on page 11 and 12, or in a little notebook like this, or on your phone if you're someone who's more likely to keep your phone handy. Use that as your food journal for the week and just start to write in there, what you're eating and when you're eating it and what you're drinking and when you're drinking and all that sort of thing, so that you get really comfortable journaling and you get very good at being aware of when and how often you eat, and also um what you feel. So if you're kind of like, whoa, I had that pasta dish and then I was so sleepy I couldn't finish my work, then that's something that you want to know about. That's something that really will impact you if you begin to change that, and you'll notice a difference. So we have 8 minutes left on the clock. Is there anything that anyone wants answered right now tonight? Please go ahead and ask in that box. No questions at all? Just got a question coming from D. Do you want to speak, D, or do you want to just type it in the box there? Okay. No dramas. All good. All right, everyone. So we'll finish slightly early tonight. Um, any questions during the week, please do get in touch. Otherwise, we get on into the thick of it next week. So good luck with your first task. If any of you don't know about the reset program, the Jumpstart, and you do want to, please ask the person who invited you, or just give me a tingle and I'll help you with it. And yeah, good luck with the week, and I'll see you 7:30 next Monday. Have a wonderful week.